Alabama's coaching staff just put on a clinic. Now, Kalen DeBoer just improved to 13-2 in ranked matchups. That's the best record among coaches with at least 10 ranked versus ranked games in his career. That's pretty impressive. By the way, he passed Biggie Min, who was 9-1-1. Don't know Biggie Min, but clearly the guy knew how to. He's a big game coach, that guy Biggie Min, no doubt about it. All right, Kalen DeBoer, 13-2 in ranked matchups. Think about that. But more so than what they did offensively, it was the defensive adjustments that won the game for Alabama. All right, early in the game, they allow a 65-yard touchdown run on the first drive of the game to Cedric Alexander. They also, on the second drive, they allow a big run by Diego Pavia. All of a sudden, you're thinking, oh, here they go again, right? Here they go again. Well, Alabama then gets a huge play from Justin Jefferson, rips the ball out of Diego Pavia's arms, thinking like it might be 14-0 before Alabama can get anything going. That play single-handedly altered what was going to happen from that point forward in the game. And a big problem for Alabama these first few weeks of the season has been their defensive backs and plugging in run support. Now, if you think about a defense as a unit where there's holes all over the place. And in order to stop the run, every single one of those holes has to be plugged accordingly, all right, with an individual player. So it's all about gaps across the board. Well, this guy's in this gap, perfect. Well, if he's in that gap, I'll be in this gap. And you have to kind of pick each other up. So when a defensive lineman makes a declaration as to which gap they're playing in, then a linebacker has to fix it, take the other gap. And if that gap is unaccounted for, then guess what? A secondary player has to come in and fill that gap. Well, Alabama's struggled with that. And a lot of the big runs that they've given up have been because the defensive backs have not plugged the gaps accordingly. Well, that was a problem the first couple drives. And then boom, Kane Womack made some adjustments. He decided to back his defensive backs up just a little bit, back his linebackers up just a little bit, and they played so much better down the stretch. And a second half shutout against a really solid Vanderbilt offense, they had just 9 yards rushing after halftime, after giving up 120 some odd yards there in the first 2 drives. It was remarkably well done by Kane Womack and his staff. And this Alabama defense, they've always, over the last 2 years, they always seemingly step up and make a critical turnover when they absolutely have to have it. That happened in this game, not once, but twice. 2 red zone turnovers forced really swung momentum towards the Alabama Crimson Tide. And then their quarterback, Ty Simpson, guys, at the heart of their resurgence after the disappointment of week 1 has been the play of their quarterback. He's rapidly ascending into the top tier of the college quarterbacks in the country. He's rapidly ascending up the Heisman Trophy conversation and against a really solid defense. Now, and don't think anyone's going to look at Vandy and say, oh, well, they're the 85 Bears. They're not the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're not the Miami Hurricanes. It's a really solid defense that forces you to earn it. I thought Ty Simpson did a great job. He was 23 of 30 for 340 and a couple touchdowns. This was his 3rd game in the last 4 where his completion percentage was above 75%. And if you look at how he's attacking, he'd been attacking the middle of the field. Now he's attacking the outside parts of the field as well. I think big picture for Alabama, this was a coaching clinic. And their quarterback continues to get better and better and better as the season goes along. And if you look back at that season opening loss to Florida State, I think a lot of people at that time kind of looked at this as this is a defining failure of what's going to happen with this program. It might have at this point been the best thing that's happened to Alabama in years. It served as a wake-up call for everyone on that roster. It had more of a galvanizing effect than it did an effect in which the guys get timid or they go into their shell. The guys have now come together and have come out on the other side with a newfound confidence and resiliency that makes them extremely dangerous. And at this point, tell me a team in college football that has one loss that is looking better than the Crimson Tide. I think right now, probably the best one-loss team in America. I think their resume might reflect that as well. They also, as a bonus, running game starting to get going too. That's been quiet these first few weeks of the season. Well, Jam Miller goes for $136 on the ground, which is the most by an Alabama running back in the conference game since 2022. So that run game's starting to get going as well. So this is going to become a very dynamic offense. And now that the defense can prove that they can make those adjustments on the fly, that group might round into form as well and become a much better outfit as the season goes along.